Today's episode is brought to you by DeSanto Propane. DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane. Today we continue our series previewing local elections across the Finger Lakes by catching up with one of the candidates running for Seneca Falls Town Board. Wendy Crane joins me in studio. Wendy, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So what made you want to run for Town Board?
So I decided to run for Town Board because I was born and raised here in Seneca Falls. My dad was also born and raised here, and my grandma was here for 97 years of her life. So we have 3 kids, and we're calling this home, and I have been going to the meetings and seeing what's going on, and I don't love the direction that Seneca Falls has been going in, and I complain a lot, and I decided that it was time to step up and get stuff done. Do something about it. Yep. What was that? I guess I'm curious, like, what that conversation was like as you were thinking about it, because obviously there's a whole process to get from maybe I want to run to I'm running for Town Board. What was that process like for you, and what were the conversations like that you were going through to get to that point of like, yeah, I'm ready to do this? Okay, so yeah, it took a lot. I'm busy. I help out coaching stuff, so I'm like, do I have time for this? Last year, my daughter in kindergarten, they were like, yeah, kindergarten has 60 kids in the classrooms. And I'm like, 60 kids? That's Romulus. Like, we always knew Romulus was a smaller school, but like, we're turning into Romulus. Like, why is that? What is the reason why we are so low in numbers? Why don't people want to live here in Seneca Falls? Growing up here, it's a great place. Everybody knows you, which some people would say is good and not good. But I've always loved that. You always have somebody looking out for you, and I love that hometown feel of it. So I feel like we need to reach the younger generation a little bit more, make it a family-friendly place to grow your family. Yeah. When you say you've been going to town board meetings for a while now, you've been watching them play out, what's one way that you think town government could be better? I'm sure there's a bunch, but like, what's one big way that you think town government could just function better overall? Town government, every government, we need to start working together. It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, like, let's put those ideas out there. Let's see what people value the most, because I bet we have a lot more in common than what we're arguing over all the time. And I feel like we just need to come together and work together as a team. As you're campaigning and you're talking to people in the community, what are the things that you're hearing from them? Like, what are a couple of the big issues that they're really concerned about? Of course, obviously, landfill is probably one of them, but there are a lot of other issues impacting this town too. So like, and that was my thing. Like, yes, obviously the landfill's the issue, but some of my responses to people are, I'm sad that you think that's the biggest issue in this town, because I don't feel that the landfill is the biggest issue in this town. Taxes, obviously, for younger people moving into the area, it definitely makes an impact on choosing to live here or not, which I know the current board, it's exciting actually. The last budget meeting, the tax rate is $577 from $1018. So that's a significant drop for town taxes there. So I'm excited for people to learn that. So going forward, I think we can improve on that even more. Infrastructure, I was part of it. I lived on Spring Street for 5 years, and every time it rained, my basement literally flooded. We replaced our furnace. We rebuilt our furnace several times. So people shouldn't be going through that every time that it rains. The landfill is an issue. But that being said, yes, you have your people that absolutely hate it, want it shut down. There's no doubt about that. But most of the people I would say are, it's here. It's not going anywhere if we shut it down tomorrow. And a lot of people, as myself, feel like that's 100 people's jobs that are there. To willingly shut down a place of employment and tell these people, we're doing this on purpose, good luck, bye. And if each one of those people have a family of 4, we are asking 400 people to leave our town. And to me, I think we need to start working with it, be more involved. But we have to respect that those people are people as well, and those are their jobs going forward.
Yeah, and obviously the landfill is not the only environmental issue. Habs, Cayuga Lake's overall health is another one that's kind of, at least in Seneca Falls, appears to have been placed a little bit on the back burner. Is that something that perhaps could have a little more energy expended towards it over the next few years?
I absolutely agree. And education, again, I'm not, I've learned a lot in this past year as a lot of things. I think educating the farmers a little bit more, the wineries a little bit more, being involved with our water and soil. We just need to get the right connections, and we have them all. We just need to utilize them in the best way possible.
One question that has come up a lot from the community is, depending on how the DEC permitting process plays out with Seneca Meadows, how the town board would proceed. What would be your take on how the town should proceed, whether it's a yes or whether it's a no?
So I do trust that the DEC is going to make the proper decision based on what they believe the landfill needs to be in full compliance. So I'm going to trust that aspect because I don't know enough. That's their thing. Right. If you're asking me how to clean teeth, I'll tell you that. The DEC is going to hold them in full compliance. I think if they don't get it, they don't get it. So we pretty much know where they stand going forward. I think we just need to work and trust in our DEC. And if we have any further questions, there's nothing saying we can't go do our own testing to make sure that everything is right in the row where we need it to be.
Right. When somebody says they want to see more economic development in Seneca Falls, what does your vision for economic development, successful economic development, look like in Seneca Falls?
We need to be pro-business. We need to work with anybody's idea that they have. We need to hold, I walk downtown every day. We need to hold those business owners, the building owners. I don't want to say business because there's no businesses in them. The building owners more accountable, I feel like. A lot of these buildings downtown have zero for rent, for sale, for anything, nothing, and to me, if they can go without any rent, then why not reduce the rent for somebody to be able to start a business up there? And maybe as the successful business goes on, then you can raise their rent a little bit, but they're proving that they don't need the rent right now. So they should give the business to somebody to start, the storefront to somebody to start opening a business at this point to have them full if they can go without it. It's clear that they can, because I have called for one to find out, are you going to rent or not? And it's not there. There's no return phone calls or astronomical rents.
Does it feel like economic development efforts in Seneca Falls have been too passive over the last several years? Obviously, going through the DRI, the end of the DRI process now, effort has been made, clearly, but it seems like parts of the economic development effort have also been very passive. Is that like a tone change that needs to happen, maybe?
Sure. I think we definitely need to encourage more, help more in whatever ways that may be. And again, I don't know every way that might be, but I'm very open to everybody's suggestion, and I'm here to listen to those. I was talking to the board. There are 8 new businesses coming to town, so that's exciting. Not sure what all of those are, but it's exciting. I know there's at least an Italian restaurant coming. Brad's opening a bigger place there. So I think all those are positives for the town and for our tourism.
You mentioned street flooding. You mentioned flooding in basements. That infrastructure issue in particular is a challenging one because there's no silver bullet, right? It's not we're going to change this tomorrow and it's never going to happen again. How would you like to see the town prioritize that issue, in particular when it comes to some long-term planning for the town?
Right. That it is a tricky question. I know the last 2 years, the board has put up over $1 million into infrastructure. So that's huge. We're going into the right direction. I think we just need to be a little bit more aggressive with it. I know Dawn Dyson has been working on the Johnson Street. I sat through that board meeting, and we have a pipe that needs to go under the railroad. And Steve Churchill wanted to put a smaller pipe in. It could save us some money. Of course it could, but what's the long term of that.
Right.
I am one of those people. I have rental houses in town, and my husband hates me every time I say it. Do things right the first time so we don't have to go back and do it again. It costs more money in the long run to do it again. We have an engineer that knows that. He's telling us this is what we need to do. Let's do it. Let's get it done. I think we need to stop spending so much time talking about these issues, and we need to start checking them off the list and move forward and really look at the hot spots and focus on those, get those done, and then we can look at the overall picture of working on the smaller things that maybe aren't as crucial.
Give me your take on how you think the town should deal with this trifecta of issues. You've got police, EMS, and fire. EMS, obviously, North Seneca is going through its struggles right now. Police, most seem to think that the Seneca Falls Police Department's in a good spot, but recruiting is forever a challenge for law enforcement. And then Fire Department, Seneca Falls Fire Department appears to be in a good spot, but requires sort of like proactive management all the time to make sure that gear and equipment and everything like that is up to par. When you think about those three issues, how would you like to see the town board approach them over the next 4 years so that they're maintained and the services are able to be maintained?
So they're all super important, as we know. We live in a great, safe community, and I think I support our police, EMS, and fire so much. I've used them all in my life, unfortunately. And so North Seneca Ambulance came to the last budget meeting or 2 budget meetings ago, and they're struggling. They're sinking, and they need help. And they came and asked for help. Help us keep afloat right now, and we'll try to figure out the rest in the future. One of the ideas was, and I think Steve had mentioned it, that $60 in every household's budget to have a EMS. And $60, if you need it and if it's life or death, I think everybody in this whole world would agree that $60 is a small price to pay when it comes to your loved one, life or death. So I think moving forward, we need to work with the county more with that and figure out if that's something that we can maybe merge South Seneca and North Seneca and make it a one county thing and help out any way we can there. I think Tim is doing a great job with getting his police force. We have some new recruits coming on right now. I've met a few of them. They're all great guys. So I think we're good on the police force, but it is a struggle. The lack of respect for officers right now and everybody in general, I think scares people to get into that. Yeah. But Seneca Falls is pretty much a pretty safe place, I would say. I feel pretty comfortable here. And fire, they're doing a good job as well. They did do the incentive program, the 10% off your taxes, which that might entice some people to join in.
Yeah. Let's talk housing. I grew up in Seneca Falls. I think it's been something like 25-ish years since the last single-family housing development in earnest was constructed here. When it comes to the various housing issues, whether we're talking about increasing rent prices, whether we're talking about availability of senior housing, lack of new single-family construction, when you think about some of those things, what's something that you feel like the town could do to potentially make it a little easier for those developments to happen?
So I love this topic because I do think a lot about this, going around to people's houses and seeing people adding on to their houses, the older generation. We have a big senior population here, and we do. I think we have an obligation to take care of those. And they're adding on because they don't want to do stairs anymore or whatever. So a low maintenance housing development, whether it's a condo, or little single-family houses where they can still putter around in their yard and do what they want there, I think is really important. And I have a few ideas. I've been talking actually to the board members of different places we could put them. The problem is grant money for people to come in to build these. It's not there for that. So I think we need to work, and maybe if we even start as small as a town and, hey, we have this land, who would want to buy the first house built there and kind of just sell them as they go, instead of thinking we can build a whole development and make that work. And again, with I heard there's some property on Noble Road that might be going up for sale. Maybe making another Kenmore Estates or Leland Drive area and seeing if that's something, because those houses seem to go pretty fast when they do come up on the market. So those are things I think we need to look at for the workforce families.
You mentioned making Seneca Falls better for young families. A lot of the data that we've seen, one report in particular in September, showed there's going to be most likely a 40% increase in the 65 plus population by 2040, while all of the younger age groups decline between 7 and 14% by that time. When you think about the future of Seneca Falls and you being a young person in elected office potentially, how much of is this a bit of an existential crisis for towns like Seneca Falls to address so that they can continue to exist in the way that they have for the last 75 years, for 15, 20 years beyond?
Right. So it's funny. We moved to Florida for like 8 months. My husband had a job opportunity, so we took it. And so I was one of those people that was looking in an area. I'm like, oh, what's the most important thing to me for my kids? Schools was number one. I think we're doing pretty good with our schools here. I think there's always room for improvement with anything. So schools definitely are something that a young person with a family or a potential family would look at. Housing, safe communities is another. What activities are there for my kid in the town? I think we lack there. I think we lack pretty hard with things for our kids to do around here. So we're traveling to Marcellus for soccer, and why can't we have that here? We have, and that being said, it could be a county-based thing. We have Waterloo that's lacking. We have Romulus that's lacking. So I think looking into whatever that might be to bring some sort of more activities for our kids here and make it maybe a travel spot for other people to come to play tournaments and bring in that type of population for our downtown to help maybe entice people to open up a shop. Oh, we have tournaments going on, or we have this going on. I think we need to look outside the box and see what do young families want. I know what I want, but maybe other people want something different, and just be open-minded when it comes going forward.
Does that start, though, with maximizing what the rec center is able to do?
Yes. I think they're working with the rec center. At the last budget, she did say that she wanted to have longer hours. During COVID, kind of threw everything off keel. So we're like, well, we don't need to pay these people to be here. So I know they want to stay open later. They definitely need more activities get these kids out of their house. Like let's put on stuff for them to do, whatever that may be. Laser tag. We have a guy we know a guy. Yeah. Dances. 4-on-4 basketball trip, whatever it may be. Get the kids out of their houses, off their phones, and start seeing the community like we did when we hung out at the rec all the time when we were kids. So I would love to see that again.
Yeah. Last question, another easy one. What's your pitch to voters? Why should they vote for you?
I think people should vote for me. I'm ambitious. I'm a young, ambitious person, and I really have a lot of love and passion for this town, and I really want to see it go in a good direction. I'm here. I'm staying here, and there's no other option, and I have the ideas. I'm a good team player. I will agree to disagree with somebody all day long, but at the end of the day, there's a time and the place for that, and I think we can keep it as professional as possible at the meetings, and I think we can all end up being happy in the long run.
Wendy, thanks for the time today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
That'll do it for this edition of FLX Today. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this one, check out the show on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to the FingerLakes1.com YouTube channel. Have a great day, and we will see you next time.